Gibraltar went to the polls today for the third time in a European election, voting for the 6 MEPs who will represent us as part of the southwest of England region. The turnout in 2004's election was just under 50%, with only 35% turning out for the last election in 2009. The Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister and Leader of the Opposition all voted this morning, as well as the sole Gibraltarian candidate, Lyana Armstrong Emery, who's standing for the Liberal Democrats.
Well, the Liberal Party has always been very supportive of Gibraltar, and they've worked very closely. I mean, they've built a relationship with the Liberal Party of Gibraltar in the last 18 years. So, to show that commitment, they have a local Gibraltarian on their lists.
Sir Graham Watson in particular has been a strong supporter of Gibraltar. Do you feel this interest in Gibraltar is shared by the rest of the Liberal Democrat Party?
I believe so, yes, because as I say, remember that we've been working with them through Liberal International as well, and they've always been very supportive. I mean, 18 years don't go by in vain, and we've worked very closely together, and issues have been brought up, not just by Sir Graham. He's done that in Europe, but there have been occasions where other people have helped us within the world sort of Liberal family.
And for you personally, what kind of sort of support and interest have you received in Gibraltar so far, and also in the southwest?
Certainly here I have had tremendous support. A lot of people know me from quite a number of years now, I think, and they've shown solidarity behind the campaign.
And what for you are the salient issues in this European election for the UK, the southwest, and for Gibraltar in particular?
Well, they're very different reasons for fighting these Euro elections. Here in Gibraltar, we are Europeans. We need to have the support of the European Parliament. We need to tell them about the issues that affect us even more closely and raise them and keep them in their minds. We can do that through someone like Graham Watson. We obviously have a hostile neighbour that we have to counteract what they do to us, to penalise us, let's put it that way, with the incursions, the queues. And so these are battles that we have which are ongoing.
Well, it's essential that people go out to vote in any election, but in particular in national elections and European elections. Remember that the European Union now has become a little bit like the United States of Europe, and there are laws emanating from the centre of Europe, from Brussels, which affect all our lives, which our Parliament also needs to make law for Gibraltar. And we fought very hard to get this vote because we said that the European Parliament was like a national parliament in Gibraltar in the way it influenced our lives. We saw Denise Matthews take this vote to Strasbourg with Michael Yamas. I was involved in that case, and we won after a long struggle. So we must now exercise that right to vote, even if we're disappointed with Europe. In fact, in particular, if we're disappointed with Europe, we must exercise our right to vote in order to influence Europe.
Your party has endorsed Labour, who did fail to win a seat in the southwest last time. What do you think their chances are this time around?
Well, look, I never predict what the results of a poll will be, even when I'm involved in an election myself, let alone when I'm not actually involved myself, and when there is going to be 3 days of speculation between now and the count on Sunday. I just hope that whatever the result is for Labour, it is influenced by Gibraltar in some way. I've made sure that I haven't used the office of Chief Minister to back any particular candidate, and I think that's the right way to approach an election in which Gibraltar parties are not involved.
There's been a fair amount of campaigning in Gibraltar recently by the candidates for the different parties. Do you think that the recent problems with Spain have raised Gibraltar's profile among the major UK political parties and MEPs in particular?
I think it's a very healthy thing that politicians who are contesting European elections should understand in the southwest region that Gibraltar is an important part of their constituency. Whether it is because we're having current problems with Spain, with the Partido Popular in government there, or whether it is, as they are doing in other parts of the constituency, that there are topical issues there, I hope that in future European elections will see the same level of activity from those contesting this election as we have seen today.
It's fair to say there's been a certain amount of disenchantment with the EU within Gibraltar recently. Do you feel that this will be reflected in today's vote?
Well, I think disenchantment is putting it mildly, but I think in particular that is why I would urge people to vote, because we have to influence the Europe that affects our daily lives, and if we are not happy with the result, we should not turn our backs on those who we are not happy with. We should make sure that we influence them. If, for example, Texas Texas were dissatisfied with a decision made in Washington which affects the whole of the United States, the answer for Texas is not to move out of the United States of America, or for Texans not to vote in presidential elections. It's to go out and vote for those that they feel represent them best.
All European elections are important. We are sending representatives to the European Parliament to represent Gibraltar, to defend our interests and to fight our corner over there. Many of the issues we face are EU issues, the border controls, the designation of our waters, aviation issues. So obviously it is important, and Gibraltar should be represented by those who are going to fight for us and are going to stick up for our interests.
Sir Graham Watson, Liberal Democrat, has been a vocal supporter of Gibraltar's causes. What impact do you think that his advocacy has had on decisions taken in the EU Parliament?
I mean, I can tell you, for having worked with him for more than 10 years, that Sir Graham is totally committed to Gibraltar. He's worked extremely hard for us in the European Parliament. He's opened doors to us in government which were firmly closed before. He has used the contacts he's made over the years to great effect, and I cannot stress enough how important his function and his job and his role have been for Gibraltar as a whole. He's a fighter, so obviously he doesn't take no for an answer, and he defends our corner in every quarter.
There's been a certain level of disenchantment, it's fair to say, with the EU recently within Gibraltar. Do you think that this will show in the turnout today, and why is it important that people turn out to vote?
Well, I hope it doesn't, but certainly the indications are, at the moment, as we speak very early on, obviously, that the turnout is going to be low. I think people, perhaps there is an element of disenchantment with the European Union, but I think that makes it all the more important that people go and exercise a vote, and send people to Brussels and to Strasbourg who will defend Gibraltar. So although there is disenchantment, that is understood, particularly with the European Commission and the border issue and other areas that Gibraltar very rightly feels hard done by. But I think the way to tackle that is to actually turn out to vote and to send people to Brussels who will defend us.
Your party is not endorsing any candidate, but you are, the Conservatives. Why do you feel they're the best bet for Gibraltar?
Because they've always been tremendously supportive of Gibraltar. I introduced Michael Howard to the international press, and there for the very first time he developed this policy which is absolutely critical to Gibraltar, which was that no Conservative government would ever enter into a process of negotiation with the Spanish government without the consent of the Gibraltar government. It's a veto-on process. That's actually now been taken up by Labour. I mean, it's those types of commitments to Gibraltar that really persuade me that the Conservative Party is the best party for Gibraltar. Quite apart as well, I think, the support that David Cameron has shown for Gibraltar, and also William Hague has shown for Gibraltar, and others within the Conservative Party. So I think as a party, they're the best bet for Gibraltar. That's my view.
And in terms of the local relationship with the EU, it's safe to say there's been some disenchantment recently. Do you feel that this will be shown in today's vote?
Well, I hope not. I mean, I hope it's not shown in terms of attendance, a turnout here in Gibraltar. It may be across Europe. I mean, there is a huge amount of scepticism, not only in relation to the European Union, but I think in relation to politics generally. I mean, people are genuinely skeptical about the intentions of politicians and the political class and the political system. But for Gibraltar itself, it really is very important that people come out to vote, because this has been a hard-fought, hard-won game for Gibraltar. I mean, we have had to really fight very hard to obtain the right to vote. And for Gibraltar to be able to influence the United Kingdom, it has to show as well that our vote is going to make a difference in some small way. A large turnout here in Gibraltar, no doubt, allows us to be able to influence, even in a small way, what happens in the United Kingdom. A very small turnout here, well, people in the United Kingdom, politicians might turn around and say, well, why would we bother if the turnout is very, very small here? So I think it is important that people in Gibraltar come out to vote for those reasons.
Gibraltar has an electorate of 22,265, amounting to just around 0.5% of the total vote for the southwest of England. So how much of an impact can Gibraltar really have in this election?
Well, this is one of the magic moments in proportional representation, where that little 0.5% could influence one party having or not having an additional seat. So, however small our influence may be in the context of the constituency as a whole, and every Gibraltarian, I believe, would take the view that we should have our own MEP, because our issues are very distinct and particular to Gibraltar. But given what the spread of MEPs around Europe is, at the moment we haven't been able to achieve that, and we vote as part of this larger constituency. Our 0.5% 5% could seriously influence a party staying out in terms of having a seat in the southwest at all, or having more than one seat in the southwest, and that's the magic of proportional representation.
This is the whole point of having an election, you know, and being able to vote, and this is what we fought for, and when we achieved it, I think that it was a big step forward, and we got to follow up on that by casting our vote.
Gibraltar has 0.5% of the vote of the southwest region. Do you feel that this is enough for Gibraltar to make its voice heard adequately?
Well, I think that the fact that we've had all these people coming over from UK representing the different parties demonstrates that they consider that the Gibraltar vote will have an impact on the elections. I think that in spite of the fact that we've got about 400,000 constituents in the southwest constituency, a few thousand votes can make a big difference.
The ballot papers handed out today have given the electorate a choice of 8 parties, each of whom has fielded a list of 6 candidates. The Southwest currently has 3 Conservative MEPs, 2 from UKIP and 1 Liberal Democrat. It remains to be seen whether this will still be the case when the votes from across Europe are counted on Sunday.